Coming to you live from Nairobi, Kenya, this is TV 47 News Tonight. It is the 5th day of January 2023, a D-Day for the constituencies of Kandara and Garissa Township and also the county of Elgeyo-Marakwet, where they today got to choose their leaders, and we'll be giving you a blow-by-blow coverage and also an update of what has been happening during the day, even as the tallying phase begins. All that and more right here, TV 47 News Tonight. And we begin with the first story, where tonight, voting in the just concluded Kandara by-elections was marred by low voter turnout, forcing leaders in the constituency to call on residents to come out and vote, timing it as a constitutional duty. Now, leaders led by the 8 candidates, outgoing Kandara MP and Water Cabinet Secretary Alice Ohome and her Treasury counterpart Professor Njuguna Ndungu, decried the low voter turnout that has become a norm during that by-election. So we'll be bringing you that particular story later on. And remember, also the Elgeyo-Marakwet County basically voted today to replace the Cabinet Secretary of Roads, that is Kipchumba Murkomen, and also the Garissa Township constituency, which, well, the voters also voted to replace Cabinet Secretary Defense, that is Aden Duale. And one particular norm that we had from our reporters was that the voter turnout was low, occasioned by most of the by-elections, which is normally low. Now let's go to Elgeyo-Marakwet County, where the voting in that particular county started smoothly Thursday morning, but was largely characterized by low voter turnout in several polling stations. Now let's cross over now to Elgeyo-Marakwet, where our own Chichi Josephine is on standby. Chichi, when we spoke in the afternoon, you were talking about low voter turnout in that particular area, and it is one county that is marred by insecurity, mostly in the southern part where we were. Chichi, what is the latest as per now?
Yes, Stanley, a very good evening to you, and indeed coming live to you from the constituency tallying center here in KEU North constituency. And of course, as you can see, the whole process of tallying has begun here. Remember, this particular tallying center, these ballot boxes has been submitted here from the 113 polling centers that voters were voting from. And of course, as you can see, they've just arrived here ready for tallying. And of course, after here, be submitted to the main tallying center that is at KMTC here in Elgeyo, or rather in KEU North. And of course, just to tell you that after the verification of results from that form 8B, the forms will be submitted to KMTC for overall tallying and announcements. And just to tell you, as I had told you during the day, is that there is a stiff competition between two horses. That is the Kisang William of the UDA party and Tim Kipchumba of the PPD party, who are at neck and neck competitors here in this particular county, that is Elgeyo-Marakwet, vying for the senatorial position. Remember, everyone was eyeing for this position after Senator Kipchumba Murkomen was or rather got into the DP's, or rather Ruto's cabinet as the CS for road and transport. Of course, just to tell you is that Elgeyo-Marakwet has a total number of registered voters to be 213,000, and of course the overall tallying centers, or rather polling stations, were 554. Like I had told you during the days, that voter turnout was quite low, and that there were so many reasons behind that. Some said the matter of insecurity, of course, affected the same, and of course there has been bad weather that the voter turnout, and of course some said there was a low voter up that could have contributed to the same. And just to tell you is that this particular senatorial position attracted 6 candidates in this particular county of Elgeyo-Marakwet. That is William Kisang of the UDA party, we have Tim Kipchumba of the PPD party, we have Jerotid Say of Safina party, we have Timothy Tanui of New Democrats, and Andrew Mengich, independent candidate candidate, and of course another Kevin Kemboi independent candidate. And but just like I have told you, is that the contest is shaping up as a two-horse race. Of course, they are pitting the UDAs, that is Kisang William and of course Team Kipchumba, who are the two horses. Of course, it's a stiff competition between the two. And of course, right here, as I have told you, is that tallying is ongoing. Everybody is busy doing their calculations to see who between the two, or rather among the six, will be able to emerge the winner for this particular position of the senatorial position in this particular county of Elgeyo Marakwet. Therefore, Stanley, just to keep you posted, is that we have been into different stations, or rather polling stations, and to tell you is that matters regarding security was quite beefed up, and so we cannot really talk on matters regarding insecurity because all we saw was security being beefed up in every corner of those polling stations. But the only problem that we would point out would be the low voter turnout. And of course, we talked to some of the candidates who, of course, were kind of tension. They had tension, of course, seeing people did not turn out for this particular by-election. But we are here keeping an eye on this. We shall be able to keep our viewers updated to what will be transpiring in this particular tallying center. Remember, like I've told you, from here we shall be headed to the KMTC, which is the main tallying center, where Form 38B from this particular, that is the constituency tallying center, will be submitted particular main tallying center, and remember that is the place that the winner will be announced, and of course verification of these particular forms will be done, and finally the winner shall be announced, and we shall get to know who becomes the next senator for Elgeyo Marakwet. Therefore, Stanley, allow me keep an eye on this, and I shall be able to keep our viewers posted to what will be happening right here in Elgeyo Marakwet. Over to you, Stanley. My name is Chichi Josephine.
Right, Chichi Josephine right there in Elgeyo Marakwet County. Thank you for that. And from Elgeyo Marakwet County, crossover all the way to Kandara. And tonight, voting in the just concluded Kandara by-elections was marred by low voter turnout, forcing leaders in the constituency to call on residents to come out and vote, timing it a constitutional duty. Now, leaders led by the 8 candidates, outgoing Kandara MP and Water Cabinet Secretary Ali Sohome and her Treasury counterpart Professor Njuguna Ndungu, decried the low voter turnout that has been become a norm during elections. Now, there were claims of voter bribery and a scuffle between 2 security officers in the peaceful mini polls. Our senior political affairs reporter Polo Kamau has a detailed coverage of the day's events.
It's decision time here in Kandara constituency, here at Ngararia Girls High School, which is the main tallying center for the constituency. And if I may step aside, it's a beehive of activity. The ballot boxes are streaming in from 93 polling stations. You can see the presiding officers, security officers on standby, on alert. They are all bringing the final results that will determine the winner of this election. Those are the true live pictures from Ngararia Girls High School, where presiding officers in the company of security officers are here to bringing the ballot boxes. You can see the line, you can see the queue. Remember, this is a very vast constituency, and that's why you see the ballot boxes coming in now, given this exercise closed at 5 o'clock this evening. And therefore, that's why you're seeing the huge number of ballot boxes streaming in at this time. These are returning officers, security officers. They are coming here, they are signing in, and then they proceed to the main tallying center where the process of counting and tallying will begin. And this has been a long day not just for the people of Kandara, but also for the leaders, starting this morning at 6 o'clock when they started casting their vote. There has been this issue of the low voter turnout, and it's been a major issue, especially the places we have visited. This constituency has about 6 wards, and in these 6 wards, the picture, the trend was the same. The low voter turnout, which was being attributed to the farming activity in this area, which is the mainstay economic activity. And we did speak to the outgoing MP, Alice Wahome, Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury, Professor Njuguna Ndung'u. We had UDA candidate who is Chege Njuguna, and then we had his main opponent in this election, who is Titus Mbuchu. And this is what they had to say about the issue of low voter turnout, appealing helplessly to voters to turn up in their numbers. But let's listen in to what they had to say.
Let's get out to them. Let's get the word out that the turnout is not as we would expect.
People need to take their voting responsibility very seriously. I could say that there has been a lot of mobilization, and my expectation was that I will find many people in the queue. That is not the case. So please come out and vote.
So let's not be on the side. Let's be part of the game. If you're not part of the game, you cannot be counted. And if you cannot be counted, you don't matter.
Then, as you know, this has been a hotly contested election, especially between the two main candidates, UDA's Chege Njuguna and Ford Asili's Titus Mbuchu. Remember, Titus Mbuchu participated in the UDA nominations. He was ousted. He did complain that the process was not fair. Today, he was also complaining. But the complaint further extended to him, talking about the fairness of this process. And he did say, not just him, but even the other side, they did say there were allegations, or they alleged there were allegations of voter bribery. And this is what Mbuchu or Ford Asili had to say about the exercise today.
Ile issue iko ni washachaguliwa na wako kwa vyeo, wako kwa viti, na tunawaona hapa wanakuja wakipeana pesa, na hiyo sio vizuri, sababu wakati wa uchaguzi kampeni huisha masaa 40 kabla uchaguzi ufike. Kwa hivyo sasa wakati tunaona hapa wakitembea wakipeana pesa, hiyo ina.
This is a very high-staked election, given from the very beginning who has been campaigning for the UDA candidate in this election, starting all the way from nominations where Mbuchu claims he was shortchanged. Starting today, this morning, you could tell by the presence of National Treasury Cabinet Secretary Professor Njuguna Ndung'u, who said he was here, and he did state categorically that he was voting for UDA candidate. He was towing the party line. He was towing the ruling party line. He was towing the president's line to vote for the UDA candidate. And we also had the outgoing MP, Alice Wahome. And this makes this by-election very interesting as counting and tallying begins tonight. Because Alice Wahome, as much as she doesn't want to admit it, she is backing the Ford Asili candidate, a young man who is likely to cause an upset in this election. And that young man, who is Titus Mbuchu, might make this a very interesting election. Remember, UDA lost in Bungoma. This is a UDA stronghold, something the leaders whom we spoke to today have been maintaining all along. This is a party that has been in power for 4 months. This is a party which is testing its popularity here in the Mount Kenya region. This is a party which is testing its plan, which it unveiled before President William Ruto won the election. And this is what UDA Party Secretary General Veronica Maina had to say about this election.
Hardly 4 months old, so it's a very important election because it comes very quickly in, very quickly soon after the general election. So it's a very crucial one, and it also continues to help us determine how popular we continue to be, how the programs that have been done by the government have helped the party to continue growing. So I believe it's a very important election.
There's something very interesting about this election. It has been a very peaceful election despite the low voter turnout. And it's something the leaders across both sides of the divide have admitted, that IEBC has organized this election flawlessly. And therefore, this is something they did praise IEBC for organizing this election peacefully. But there were a few incidences here and there, apart from the issue of bribery. There was the issue of insecurity. There was a prison warden who was participating in manning this election, and a regular police officer who was manning this polling station, this main tallying center, Ngararia Girls High School. And according to Murang'a County Commander Ali Nuno, he did tell us that the prison warden attacked the regular police officer who was manning this polling station. And it was so serious because it also involved border riders. And that regular police officer was taken to hospital. Let's listen in to what he had to say about that incident.
A scuffle which ensued between the team and an officer from prisons. He has caused chaos in the polling stations, and he injured one of the security officers. The security officer has been taken to hospital and discharged in fair condition, and the prison officer is in custody.
And as we wrap up this final part, or the second part before the final part of this exercise, as you can still see, IEBC election officials here are still verifying the ballot boxes and the voting materials coming in before they head to the main tallying center for the counting and tallying. It has to be verified. The presiding officers have to sign. It has to be verified by IEBC before they proceed to the main hall. And then after this exercise, which has taken an entire day starting at 6 o'clock, will come to an end. Remember, in this constituency, we have about 6 wards which participated in this by-election. We have 8 candidates who are waiting to know their fate tonight. This decision time, this decision day, it's crunch time. Possibly after midnight, that's when we will be able to know the winner in this election. There were 8 candidates who participated, 3 of them independent. The main contenders, the main challengers, of course, as I told you earlier, it's UDA and Ford Asili contestants. Back to you in studio as we now begin the final phase of this process, the counting and the tallying.
Right, thank you for that, Apollo Kumar, Senior Political Affairs reporter, and we'll definitely be keeping our eyes and ears on the ground to just know who will be the winner in the Kandara parliamentary by-elections. Moving on, Cabinet Secretaries and other senior ranking officials of the executive have officially begun a 4-day retreat at the Fairmont Mount Kenya Safari Club in Nanyuki, Laikipia County. The retreat was convened by President William Ruto in order to crystallize the implementation program of the administration's plan for this year. And as Mike Kagongo reports, the meeting's agenda will, among other things, seek to find a solution to bring down the high cost of living.
President William Ruto will be leading a 4-day executive retreat at the Fairmont Mount Kenya Safari Club in Nanyuki starting today. State House spokesperson Hussein Mohamed stated that the president convened the retreat to clarify the implementation plan for the administration's priorities for this year.
The success of these first 5 years will depend on how we collectively confront the constraints we are likely to face. We will also be required to synergize as we pursue and compete for limited resources, with innovation and well-informed investment being key solutions.
The agenda for the retreat includes the adoption of the government's economic transformation plan, which focuses on priority areas such as food security, implementation of the Hustler Fund, universal healthcare, and job creation. The meeting will also review and evaluate the performance of the Kenya Kwanza administration and outline the thematic areas of focus in relation to its campaign pledges.
With the people of Kenya holding high expectations, we are called upon to deliver now, and therefore the sense of urgency is palpable. I look forward to the deliberations and outcomes of this retreat.
The retreat, which will conclude on Sunday, brings together all cabinet secretaries, top government officials and principal secretaries. Mike GOtv 47.
President William Ruto has denied claims that his proposal to create the office of the official leader of opposition is a ploy to give Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Raila Odinga a formal job. At the same time, the head of state has said that technology will be used to ensure the success of the recently launched Hustler Fund. Now here's some of the key highlights from the joint media engagement in State House on Wednesday. In his inaugural joint media interview at the State House on Wednesday, President William Ruto confirmed that he fired former director of the Directorate of Criminal Investigations (DCI) George Kinoti due to the increase in extrajudicial killings in the country.
Judicial killings, now that you mentioned the River Yala.
When asked about the matter by TV47's Linda Lela, the president stated that his government will not condone any extrajudicial killings and will continue working with the Independent Policing Oversight Authority (IPOA) to fully achieve their mandate.
You know, there was a container here at the Nairobi area where people were being slaughtered in a police station. How did we end up there? You know, what kind of rogue, you know, institution? And that is why I fired that Kinoti man.
Journalists from leading TV stations in the country also raised the issue of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua and Inspector General Japheth Kome's remarks about police using their guns to defend themselves.
Police not can, they must defend themselves. That's the law, you know. They must defend themselves. They cannot put themselves at risk, you know, and be able to continue being a police force that helps us sort out our security.
Other topics discussed during the interview included the state of the country's economy, the high cost of living and inflation. The journalists questioned the sustainability of the recently launched Hustler Fund and the president's plan to address these issues.
We had gone the route of forming a committee in every village and a committee in every constituency and another committee in every. First, we would not even have formed the committees. Forget about disburse the money, right? I mean, technology works, my friend.
The controversial topic of the office of the official leader of the opposition was also brought up, with the president denying claims that it is a ploy to give the Azimio One Kenya leader Raila Odinga a formal job.
Tika demokrasia, yeah? Hii power, watu kukorogwa na power ni rahisi. Kuna sababu ya kuwa na upinzani.
President Ruto has reached out to the speakers of the National Assembly, Moses Wetangula, and the Senate, Amason Kingi, to consider introducing constitutional amendment bills for the creation of the office to ensure accountability in his government. The president stressed that the only way to lower the cost of living is by ensuring surplus food production. And across the borders, thousands of mourners gathered at the St. Peter's Square in Vatican City for the funeral of former Pope Benedict XVI that was presided over by Pope Francis, the first event of its kind in modern times that saw a sitting pontiff preside over the funeral mass of his successor.
The Catholic Church conducted a historic funeral for the Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI, using a mix of ancient rituals and new precedents for a former pontiff who shocked the world by abdicating his duties 10 years ago, citing health reasons in what was seen as a transformation to the papacy. The 90-minute funeral ceremony kicked off at 9 a.m. in Rome, 11 a.m. in Kenyan time. The dome of the basilica was shrouded in mist as the cypress wood coffin contained the body of the former Pope Benedict was brought out and placed on the steps facing St. Peter's Square, accompanied by applause from the attendees. Pope Francis, who presided over the Mass, was brought on the dais in a wheelchair shortly after to preside over the ceremony. After confession, the first and second reading were done in Spanish and English respectively, before the Gospel was read in Latin to pave way for Pope Francis to give his homily in Italian.
Together we want to say, Father, into your hands we commend his spirit.
Benedetto
Among the modifications in the funeral was Benedict being referred to as emeritus throughout the funeral and some prayers done in different languages since he was not the reigning pope.
In his great mercy.
After the funeral mass, Benedict's coffin was transported through the basilica, where it was transferred to the Vatican crypt for the burial in the first tomb of John Paul II, which was vacated after his predecessor's remains were moved to a chapel when he was named saint. In the burial rites, a webbing was placed around the coffin with seals of the apostolic chamber, the pontifical house, and liturgical celebrations. The cypress coffin was then placed inside a zinc coffin that was soldered and sealed, and subsequently placed inside another wooden coffin that was buried. Over 50,000 people are estimated to have attended the funeral mass, translating to about 1/6 of the crowd from the previous papal funeral of John Paul II in 2005. However, the burial took place in a private ceremony inside the Vatican crypt. Sylvia Nyongesa, TV 47.
And back home, barely a week after surviving impeachment at the Senate, Meru Governor Kawira Mwangaza has received support from Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. And as Flora Limuki now reports, the Deputy President held a 5-hour meeting with members of the Parliament and senators from Meru County in an effort to end the ongoing conflict between the Meru members of the County Assembly and the Governor.
During the tabling of the report, the 11-member Senate committee led by Boni Halwale noted the hostile relationship between the MCAs and Kawira Mwangaza.
That the charges, Mr. Speaker, none of them was proved or substantiated.
In the impeachment, the MCAs accused Mwangaza of nepotism, illegal appointments, unlawful dismissals, as well as issuing roadside appointments and incitement against other leaders from the county. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has affirmed his commitment to spearhead unity and harmony in the county and the Mount Kenya region by extension. In December 2022, Mwangaza had reached out to DP Gachagua and President William Ruto seeking the intervention to calm the storm that had engulfed Meru County barely a month into her term in office. President William Ruto has emphasized on the need to unify the counties irrespective of the parties they were elected on. Already, the Senate's devolution and intergovernmental committee has begun the reconciliation process between the MCAs and Governor Kawira Mwangaza.
We will support all our governors. Some of them are making the right decision, some of them are not. We just managed to, do something about Meru. In fact, as I talk to you now, there is a conversation with Meru leaders, which my deputy is going on with, to make sure that we support them politically.
This comes in the backdrop of a growing tiff between Gachagua and Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja.
He's trying to do this, he's trying to do that. Some he gets right, some maybe he needs a bit more consultation, something like that. And that's why I am there.
Gachagua sparked debate last month after castigating Sakaja over the plan to move matatus from the city center. Flora Limuki, TV 47.
And into the wonderful world of sports, Sirisia Member of Parliament John Waluke has assured youth from his constituency that he is dedicated to ensure there is development in sports in Sirisia. Now, Waluke was speaking during the launch of different sports tournament at the Chwale Boys. Waluke added that the only way to help the youth is by nurturing their talents and making sure that they have enough supports.
Kusaidia vijana kumake sure ya kwamba mnacheza vizuri.
In fact, in Parliament we are contemplating to bring back school sports because we used to get talent from schools. Wanafunzi wanatoka shule, when AFC was AFC and Gor Mahia was Gor Mahia. We used to have players from Kakamega High School, from Kibabi, from Singu, and all these schools. And the ones who are playing in that team, and the ones who are playing in the Harambee Stars.
And the county government of Kilifi has started the scouting of talented youth who will be trained in various sporting activities in a bid to reduce cases of teenage pregnancies and drug abuse. With the rise of cases of drug abuse and teenage pregnancies in the Kilifi County, Sports Cabinet Secretary Naftali Owino said his office plans to start under 112 football clubs across the county as a way of scouting the talents who will form the county football team. As Marafa Member of Parliament Karisa Mbaya said, he had already tabled a motion in the County Assembly of Kilifi seeking to compel companies in the county to form football clubs and recruit local youth as a way of giving back to the community.
Wataunda timu moja ya kaunti ya Kilifi hasa kwa michezo mingi. Katika budget waliana kwamba viwanja sasa vinaanza kuboreshwa vizuri ili vijana watoke katika masuala ya mihadarati warudi kwa michezo. Sasa vijana wengi wamejisha na mihadarati kwa sababu kosa wakati na viwanja vya kufanyia michezo.
Kama MCAs tuko na agenda na vijana ambao ni sports. Sports is in employment. Tunaona vijana wengi hawana kazi na kusema ukweli the county cannot employ like everyone and
Right, and main news done, sports done, and we're taking a short break. We'll be coming back with one exclusive interview by Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka. Stay around for that.
Tricent School of Medical Health Science and Technology is a premier training institute for market-driven courses. With state-of-the-art facilities, competent and dedicated members of staff, and linkages with the medical industry, you are assured of a bright future when you study with us. Enroll today in our campuses at Juja, Nairobi West, Kisumu, and Homa Bay.
Kaluma King Herbal Lozenges zinazo nguvu maradufu kutuliza kikohozi, vidonda vya koo na mafua. Kaluma King ni shwari.
Chika mama huyo muharifu kaiba kuku zangu, vifaranga wangu na mayai zote pia kabeba. Haya chika mama huyo.
Maumivu yakizidi, muone daktari.
Uwezi enda nayo huko ndani, unaacha hapo kwa lake ndio uingie.
Ni wacho kwa lake namna gani nataka kutumia huko ndani? Nimekuja na hii gani ndio inatumika? Hii paketi ama hii kuchota? Kwani serious hii? Bwana wacheni mchezo bwana. Nini nyinyi?
Karibu customer. Hizi bidhaa unaziacha pale kwenye lage ndipo ufanye shopping kwa supermarket yetu. Kuchota ni kufanya shopping pekee.
Ni kufanya shopping.
Na Hetia Supermarket ndio best. Kwa mara nyingine tena, Hetia Supermarket inakuletea chota kuchota na Hetia Supermarket. Kushiriki shindano la chota kuchota karibu nawe Kitale, Bungoma, Eldoret, Kakamega, Kisumu, Busia, Naivasha, Limuru, Nairobi, Thika, Nyeri, Meru, Chuka na Maua. Nunua bidhaa ya shilingi 600 na zaidi na utapewa raffle ticket. Jaza vizuri na utumbukize kwa sanduku iliyo mlangoni. Utakuwa umeingia kwa draw ya kujishindia zawadi Dahatsu Mira, pikipiki 21 aina ya TVS, 1130 school fees, TVS, shopping vouchers na vingine vingi.
Basi, ni huku. Saidia mimi.
Chota kuchota imethaminiwa na Iwe Bacon, Savannah Juice Fruit Vial, My Choice Hand Wash, Zesta Choco Primo, Ketepa, Blue Band, Aramco, Oven Fresh Bread, Nivea, Silent Night Mattresses, Coca-Cola pamoja na Hisense. Shindano hili limeidhinishwa na BCLB permit number 002816. Sheria na masharti kutumika.
Chota kuchota na Hetia Supermarket, na hii motokaa gari smart kabisa inaweza kuwa yako. Unangoja nini? Ingia, fanya shopping yako Hetia Supermarket, uchoto kuchote na hii kari, hii motokaa inaweza kuwa yako. Mtu anaweza pesa kwa busi.
Hetia Supermarket, a world of choice.
The secret to an instant glow and spotless skin.
Acne C10 is a 10% pure vitamin C serum that effectively fades dark spots and clears dark patches. With a unique formulation, it is quickly absorbed deep into the skin to give optimal results. Acne C10, 10% pure vitamin C serum, safe on all skin types.
Imagine starting your academic journey here at the foot of Mount Kenya, a place where you can call home, a place where we celebrate our diversity and uniqueness, a place where you can be at your best, at work and at play. That place is Embu College. There's no better place to make the difference than Embu College. Karibu Embu College, where a holistic education matters.
Right, it's 35 minutes past the top of the hour. Now, Wiper Party Leader Kalonzo Musyoka has dismissed claims of rumbles within Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition, terming the 2022 presidential election as a sham. Speaking to our political reporter Elizabeth Mutuku, he says that he has no problem with the creation of the office of opposition leader as long as it is created with good intentions for the country. I will leave you with this particular exclusive interview. The Wiper Party Leader Kalonzo Musyoka, Catherine